Hey everybody, CVH here, and in today's video I'm going to be showing off some gameplay with the Archer deck you can see on screen, which I'm calling Hybrid Archer. This is basically a cross between a Swindler's Market Archer deck and a traditional mid-range Archer deck that just focuses on aggression with a bit of threats in the mid-game. This basically was just one of the decks that I've been playing on stream recently that I found the most fun and very interesting to pilot because of the different lines you can take, focusing a bit more on the aggression with your natural creatures, and then transitioning into more of a burn approach if you can get a Swindler's Market or two on the board with a lot of your zero cost cards. This definitely doesn't look traditionally like a Swindler's Market deck would look. If you guys check it out on legends-decks.com or just look at other Swindler's Market decks out there, you'll see that most of them focus way more on the Swindler's Markets themselves. And a lot of them just focus on more Nord firebrands, raiding parties, close calls, merchants, camels, and other draw cards that we're not playing to make sure you get those combo pieces, because in a lot of those decks, Swindler's Market is the main win condition. But I was watching It's Otter play a little bit. He was in top 5 or top 10 Legend with a Swindler's Market deck that had a bit more of a late game and not as much of an emphasis on the combos themselves. And that's basically where I got the basis for this idea too. We have a lot of different cool things in this deck, along with the Archer's Gambits and some lethals that we can take advantage of with there for some removal. The only red cards besides the Gambits, the 3 Markarth Bannermans, which give us Nord Firebrands, and the Reeve, just because I think Reeve's a really powerful threat to put on the board early, and that's really what we're about, is starting off with our creatures and being really aggressive with those and transitioning into some burn. A couple Sheer Point Dragons, again, this is a work in progress, not exactly sure on the numbers, was only playing 2 for space, had the 3 Eclipse Baronesses for some draw to keep refilling our hand, and hopefully get us a little bit more of a consistency with the Swindler's Market combos. And for zero cost cards, we have the Goblin Skull Curse package, which you'll see in pretty much every Archer deck. A lot of ways to get completed contracts, from the Astrid with our lethals and the Brotherhood Slayers. We have more curses with the Murkwater Shamans, and this 3 copies of Smuggler's Hall, which is one of our more interesting cards and can generate a lot of really wacky plays. This card can even directly lead to some lethals without even having the Swindler's Markets on the board. So that's pretty much the basis of it. Part mid-range Archer, part Swindler's Market Archer. Again, this has been one of the most entertaining decks that I've had the pleasure of playing in the last couple weeks, and definitely a very interesting deck from a playing standpoint, trying to find the right lines throughout all stages of the game, and can take your opponents by surprise as well with some of the funkier cards like the Swims at Night. So hopefully you guys enjoy the gameplay, and if you do, feel free to leave a like, stay subscribed to the channel for more Legends content, follow my stream in the description, I'll see you guys next time. So this deck did actually have a pretty good win rate on stream for me. I played it from a little bit over 100, around where he is right now, to the top 50. I played a different deck to the 30s, I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but it definitely had a 66% plus win rate. Again, kind of a small sample size. Not exactly sure the deck's power level over a very large sample size. I'm pretty sure it was above 66% though, so at worst we can say it was 66%. It might actually be 70 plus. So it definitely has performed very well for me. Monk, I'm going to say it's control. I like having the aggressive too. And I might actually keep both these with the ring as well, because they're very hard for Monk in particular to deal with. If I were up against Mage or any blue deck, I don't think I would keep the Markarth with the ring. But, do we even want to... Yeah, let's go ahead and play the Trader. It's just so good every time Monk doesn't have Fighter's Guild Recruit. Execute, and the other 2 drops in the deck do nothing to it. So hopefully we can get some easy damage going. Now, we could use this opportunity to play Swindler's Market, but I don't want to let him know that's what I'm going for, and I think my ring charge is a bit more valuable. It should be a while until we get some Swindler's Market value. But it is a very good card against Monk due to them not having traditionally support removal. Alright, unfortunately we'll have to take that trade. I could just play Astra, but I think I am liking the Reeve. Do we want to play Reeve on the left or the right? I think I'm just going to play it left. Try to keep a control of the field lane. It's because he can't play Leaf Lurker yet, he can't play Javelin yet, so it should be a bit safe. Then we can develop the Markarth as well next turn and maybe split his attention. Devour. Okay, so Devour is an answer that I wasn't thinking of, to be fair. Let's hope he doesn't have another Devour, but I'm going to have to play around Leaf Lurker this time as well. Devour, man. Please don't have another Devour. At this point, I could just play Piercing Javelin. God, that's a good Devour. But if this lives, we're definitely very happy. This Varanus could be very good in this matchup as well. Very hard to not get value out of it. Let none defile our temple. Alright, it's living. We like to see that. I think I am just going to play this Astrid.
I'll lead my family to glory.
Save my Nords for now. We do have 2 Leaf Lurkers we can use the Nords in conjunction with. So I definitely don't agree with his play there, giving me the ability to get a free contract. He could have traded it in for me and denied the contracts, but he did not. I wonder why.
The void awaits you.
Ifra stands with me.
We do have the time for that, so let's just play it now. Otherwise it feels like kind of a waste of the 3 magicka we had remaining that turn.
Let none defile our temple.
Another contract, maybe mine. Couple contracts, maybe mine actually. It's very nice. We could draw a card first with the Baroness, maybe get an Archer's Gambit or something. That would be very nice on the Nimble Ally, ping that, trade favorably there. So yeah, let's go for contracts. Baroness.
Let's go then. My time is precious.
Didn't get the Gambit. Unfortunately.
The forest is ours.
The void awaits you.
Just give me a name.
One downside to this is that we haven't pushed for a lot of damage already, which is definitely what we'd like to have done. It's the idea of the Reeve, but then he devoured my hopes and dreams. So early. You know, we got a bit of Markarth value, we got a bit of Astrid value, which I definitely didn't expect to get so much of. Which means an early Baroness against a control deck, can't complain too much.
Let's go then. My time is precious.
There's the Gambit. That would have been very nice last turn. Could still be nice this turn if we want it to be. Could just go Gambit Leaf Lurker, honestly.
It's nothing personal. These streets are mine.
And I think that's okay.
The forest is my cloak.
Might just save the rest. We don't really need to develop Fighter's Guild right now. We could have done Fighter's Guild Gambit, but I do like developing the Leaf Lurker because of its 4 attack. Maybe Contract could have even more damage output if we get another Swindler's Market in the future. So if he does have Dawn's Wrath, he'd want to do it in the left because it's twice as much attack staring him down. But then we do get a card to replace the Baroness. And it's a pretty good one, too. Ooh, that's a pretty good one, too. But we can play Cliff Racer along with Leaf Lurker once we use Nord Firebrand here. And I think that's exactly what I'm going to be doing.
The forest is my cloak. Do not take you.
I think that's good for now. Hopefully Tazcat can help us close out the game. And the healing from the market can be very relevant against more aggressive decks, but obviously he's a very slow monk control.
Let none defile our temple.
A little distraction might prove useful.
The Cloud Rest Execute combo. Does it stop my lethal? We have 8 on board, 11 when we attack into the trader, 12, 13, 14. So we are a bit off, but that still gives me a really powerful board. Would have been nice to try to kill our opponent, but this will have to do.
Do not take you.
No prophecies would be very nice. Alright, so here I think I'm just gonna leave him at 3 or 4 rather. Gonna go ahead and use Fighter's Guild to try to protect my Cliff Racer.
If I fall, the hist will reclaim me.
No real reason to expend the North Firebrand here that I can see. I'm sure he knows that I have it if he's been paying attention. I attacked with Markarth Bannerman earlier and I've only played 1 Nord so far. So I'm sure it's not going to be too much of a surprise, but it could represent more damage in the future if I play another market. Even both markets. With both markets it'd be lethal. But I'd expect that this is too much pressure for him to handle. And with the market on the board, it makes not only Cliff Racer's lethal draws, but also the potential of Smuggler's Hall. Should be lethal there. Only a card like Cruel Firebloom wouldn't be able to be played if he doesn't have any creatures on the board, so it might not actually represent a point of damage. But most zero-cost cards would here, and we do have a Nord still. But as you can see, whereas most Winner's Market decks would be very focused on a lot of Nord Firebrands and reusing them with close calls, generating a ton of damage in one turn with a bunch of buffs, we're sort of taking the more natural approach in this deck, much closer to a mid-range deck splashing the Swindler's Markets than vice versa. And again, we are just a bit... Actually, we have 1 damage, 2 damage, yeah, just a bit off. So I guess I just hold the Nord Firebrand, attack here, and go for Markarth, Bannerman, and the Trader.
Follow me, men.
Of course, I'm on your side.
I think something like that's reasonable. I'd like to keep that covered, but if we put the Trader and the Markarth in the same lane, makes us really weak to Dawn's Wrath or another Manticore even. As it stands, with one thing in each lane at least, another Manticore does not stop my lethal. We're using the tried and true beat 'em up with creatures approach. It's worked for many, many decks in the history of Elder Scrolls Legends.
The day is yours.
One hour. That's not how long the game's gonna go. I will take these Gilded Nimble Ally with the ring against Crusader. Gonna say it's tokens. Still probably the most popular. Could be control though. I've seen a bit of control recently.
Greetings.
May you walk on warm
And we draw the Goblin Skulk. Seems good. Doesn't happen when I'm streaming, but when I'm recording it does seem like the Goblin Skulk plus ring combo finds its way to my hand way more than it should. Please don't have execute.
Training is over. It's time.
It is tokens, and it does not look like he has execute. So if we play Nimble Ally this turn, we're going to be doing the smart thing and playing it before we search for Curse. Could even go for Fighter's Guild, and Fighter's Guild is probably better. Thinking that he can go into Orcline Captain or Resolute Ally. So yeah, I'll just play Fighter's Guild this turn.
If I fall, the hist will reclaim me.
You can't defeat me.
I'm quite okay with that, actually. Alright, so it will be a Nimble Ally turn this turn, which means we'll play it first, so we have that additional 2% or something to get the Nimble Ally's buff. Just super good when it happens, because it also contests Hive Defender this turn. It's kind of the dream, right? 4/4 lethal into the 3/6 guard that every yellow deck plays.
I will prepare something special for them.
So he might have thought that I had one more curse to search for because I had this one in my hand naturally, the one on the far left. So that's actually okay with me. We'll go face, we'll play Thieves and Fighters. Yeah, you curse that too, I guess.
The forest is ours.
I'd rather wait until I have Swindler's Market on the board.
If I fall, the hist will reclaim.
Squeeze out every little point of damage we can. But in case he's paying attention, we will play the curses that he saw us search for. The middle and the right one first, before the one on the left. Keep him guessing.
I'm ready for anything. Gore and glory. They will not get past me.
course I'm on your side.
There's a bit of greedy damage there with the Thieves Guild attack, but I think we're at a point right now where we can just keep pressuring, and I don't think Token Crusader has too many prophecies.
Chimera, guide us!
Cloud Rust Illusionist would have been unfortunate, of course. Face, and then play the stuff.
Coming, eh?
My scales move in shadow.
Ifra stands with me.
We'll try to protect my Mournhold Trader from any additional charges. Be nice to get some Smuggler's Hall action going on this game. Would be definitely a fun draw.
Training is over. It's time
Follow
to
me,
act.
men.
Not so much of a fun draw. Do have a lot of damage.
Didn't see this coming, eh?
Forest is ours!
Chaos take my scales move in shadow.
Don't think there's anything to do, but pass with this board.
Isgramor!
They skulk. I don't want to see any more skulks. They're too glued to my end at this point. If he hadn't played Dawnstar Healer first, I don't know exactly what he's planning here. How to stay alive.
Prepare something special for them.
I think that quite does it.
Time to fight.
Come and warm yourself.
Time to fight. I'm always.
I have no fear of you, cowardly skeever.
It does seem like he was just out of answers there. So we do take the game. Nice.